미남의 표정이 이토록 아름다운 걸 처음 들던 불빛도 아닌 우리 때문일까
Last week I asked you what do you think is the trajectory of BTS in media is going to be, and you said I think it's going to be more positive and people are going to take them more seriously now. And I told you that it looks like that's exactly what's going to be because we're getting the Variety article, and then the Variety article, and it wasn't what we expected it to be.
Yeah.
Because I did a whole thread about it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, look, from my understanding, people were saying that was an article that was like aimed at industry folks and professionals in the music business, and so that's fine, I guess. I understand why a publication like Variety would be writing a piece like that. That's more, I guess, kind of their purview anyway. But at that point, it just makes me ask, why Variety? Why was Variety the one to do this extensive cover story on BTS if that was the case? I read the cover, and then I read the supplemental interviews that they put out afterwards, and I don't know. I kind of feel like it felt like a bit of a disjointed package. I don't really. I don't get why a publication hasn't yet just, sat down with the band and done like a full actual profile on them. Not on all the stuff surrounding them, but like actually on them. I think I mean, I guess the Hollywood Reporter tried to do that a couple years ago, but I'm talking about doing it the right way, obviously. I think when I think about my favorite music cover stories and artist profiles of all time, they're the ones where I felt like the writer was so familiar with the subject and had so much intimate access into their lives for just a bit that I felt like I was there with them. I felt like, we're joyriding around town together. We're hanging out on your jet together. We're like going to get McDonald's at 1 a.m. together. Like we are hanging out backstage before your show together. Like people want, the thing that makes a profile on a musician pop is like those intimate personal details. Like all the money stuff and the financial impact and like the social impact, like that's great. And there is a certain group of people that's going to care about that. But like, if you want to reach a broader audience, like just tell a good story about fascinating people. I really think that's all it takes. And I don't feel like I got to know the group any better through the different Variety pieces that came out last week.
Yeah, I think even when you say like it's for the industry, right? It's for the industry people. No one talked in that article about their online concert, Bang Bang Con, breaking records and having 750,000 people watching it. No one talked about how they broke records selling a physical album before 5 million copies of a physical album before it came out, when no one still does that. Like they didn't talk about Big Hit doing having a first half of 2020 with a considerable profit, when 87% of that profit, if I'm not mistaken, is based on BTS. Like you're gonna say it's gonna all about the numbers and financial and their standing, and then you bring some nobody from some university to talk about religion.
Yeah, that was kind of strange. I do feel, I just feel like boy bands have existed for almost 70 years now. Like I feel like we should be closer. I just feel like we should have a better understanding of like pop artists and fandoms in general at this point. Like,
yeah,
like you wouldn't get some religious studies professor to come in and talk about Taylor Swift in an article about her, or like Harry Styles. It doesn't make sense. I feel like there's this I don't know. I guess there's this temptation to like talk about BTS because like, yes, they are like, at this point, like they are global brand ambassadors and they are like agents for social change, and they are hugely influential people on all these different, platforms and in all these different contexts. But like, I think there's this temptation to talk about them as if they're like, I don't know, not human anymore.
Examine and analyze and understand how it works.
Yeah. And it's like, they're still just like 7 dudes who are like friends. They hang out. Like most of those guys are my age. Some of them are younger than me. Like I want to know what like a group of guys like me, like how they live when they're not busy being the biggest band in the world. Like, I don't know, humanizing your subjects is like the first lesson of writing a profile, especially about famous people.
Yeah, and actually, like Big Hit and BTS are so good at doing exactly that. That's why people relate to them so much. They're not idols. They're not, even if a song about how like being defined as idols was something that tore them apart, because on the inside, not from each other, because they in Korea, like idols is this more manufactured or produced music, where being an artist is you put yourself out there, and people immediately told them, oh, you're no longer rappers, you're idols now. And so for RM and Suga, oh, it's so weird to call them that. For Namjoon and Yoongi, it tore them apart, like from the inside, to be defined like that, and asking to redefine themselves and understand who they are now, that people no longer refer to them as artists. Like Namjoon was known even before he was in Big Hit. Like Yoongi saw a clip of him even before he auditioned to Big Hit. Like he was already starting to make a name for himself. So to all of a sudden have all those people that saw you as an artist turn their back on you and call you an idol, and then have this article that was supposed to be about BTS start with, oh, they're idols. It's just so weird. And BTS constantly share their flaws. They share their problems. They share what they do for fun, like how one of them loves bicycles and one of them loves to paint and do video edits and all those stuff. And they have a whole show now, which you probably haven't seen. It's called In the Soup, where they just, like, Big Hit took them for like 7 days, 3 days and 3 days, or 3 days and 4 days, dumped them in this like amazing house in the forest on a river, and they play Lego, they shoot, they play ping pong, they cook. Like that's what they do. They read books, they do yoga. It's just 7 guys hanging out, and you see that it's like the most human thing ever. And all of a sudden they're sitting there in this room, and then one of them starts playing the piano, and all of a sudden they're writing a song together. And you see that, you get to experience all that, and this article just made them seem like so fake and not human, and try to analyze like what about them made them special, when it's just that they share who they are and people connect with it. It's not that complicated.
I think, and yeah, I mean, like you said, BTS and Big Hit, like there's already so much behind the scenes content about their lives. Like people can go on Weverse and like learn more about them than they would from reading any magazine profile on them. I feel like writers are often tempted to over-explain their appeal, or I guess they underestimate what readers are already bringing to the table as far as background knowledge goes. It's like we don't have our heads in the sand. Like we know that BTS is a hugely popular artist. We know that they're a global phenomenon. We know that they had the #1 song in the country just a week ago. Like it's not a mystery. Like anybody who's choosing to read any story about BTS already has a certain amount of knowledge coming to the table. Like just, I don't know, give us a glimpse into their lives. Just make it fascinating. And, you know, for crying out loud, include some more quotes from them and not from these random people that we don't care about.
And I love how they always like push it towards it's their social media presence, when every artist today has the same access to social media just like them. Like everyone has a YouTube account, everyone has a Instagram or Twitter or whatever. They all have that option. That with BTS, it's one of them can go on Weverse and say, oh, let's play a game together, and like give a password to one of those, to a game, and like do a group game together. Like it happens. They do that sometimes. Or he can come up at 3 a.m. and post a picture completely random because he just felt like it. Or instead of going to after parties when they win awards, they go online and talk to fans. And so few artists choose to share so much of themselves with fans. But that's what it comes down to. That's why people are so connected with them.
Yeah.
It's not the fact they use social media, it's how they use it and why they use it.
Right. Totally it. Yeah. I mean, everybody has the exact same tools. It's just like how much you want to take advantage of them.
Yeah. And to just say, oh, it's because of that they're successful. It's just so stupid.
Yeah. They didn't reinvent the wheel. Like these things existed already. They just found more engaging ways to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just that article. I was reading it and I felt disappointed by everything. It just kept getting. It's not the thing is, it's not the worst article we've read. The THR articles was much worse, but it completely takes the wind off yourselves when you know like they did this whole cover to have more of visibility for the Grammy.
Well, and even from a publishing perspective, like that's a lot of work and a lot of resources and time and effort that goes into that on the magazine's part. And I just wish that like I got more from it. Like I finished the story and I was just thinking like, that's it. You know, how much time did you spend with them? You had access that people, you know, writers dream of, that like I would never in my wildest dreams like have access to somebody that famous. Like it's just an enviable position to be in. And it just was, yeah, it just was a little underwhelming. It wasn't bad, and I don't want, you know, I don't want to put dirt on anyone's name, but it just, and it started really good. You know, that first paragraph, the scene setting where they came out on stage during the concert, I was like, okay, this is fun. This is cool. This is some flashy writing. Let's see where we go. And then it just kind of became a very like academic kind of by the book sort of story.
어쩜 이 밤의 표정이 이토록 아름다워